You know what? I was originally gonna start off this cast making fun of the map name. So this new StarCraft 2 map is called Royal Blood. But I've been looking around for the last minute or so, and I kinda get it. So first off, there's this like bluish, purplish carpet going around the main base, and more importantly, there's a circular carpet right underneath the main command center. And I'm assuming, yeah, that's also the case underneath the Nexus. Then on this low ground over here, we've got this like really beautiful wooden floor. Normally it's not so... Oh my god, I haven't even seen these yet. That's sick. Anyways, we don't normally see this texture all too often. On top of that, there's a lot of doubloons. I think these are from Heroes of the Storm. Set up all over the map. Plus, there's these like gold accented tiles on the low ground as well. I kind of get it. Yeah, not textures that we normally see in StarCraft 2. But Royal Blood is the map name, and it actually kind of fits. So spawning here in the top right-hand corner, playing with the blue Terran SCVs, we have Spirit. His opponent in the opposite corner with the red Protoss probes, he goes by the name of ShoWTimE. So this is one of the new maps that was recently introduced with the TLMC 17. The map did really well, so in this video, I want to cast a couple of games on it to hopefully figure out how good it actually is. It looks very promising though, so this particular map... They're a little cursed. Sorry, okay, just don't zoom in, I guess. If you look too closely here at this, I don't know, a rug, carpet, whatever you want to call it. If you look too closely, there's something wrong about it. The perspective is not quite right. Plus, the ends actually don't entirely fit. Anyways, this particular map is made by MayOnFire. Still a bit of a disturbing map creator name because my cat's name is Milo. Anyways... he also made a map called Curious Minds, so, you know, that's obviously one of the most popular maps we've seen over the last couple of years. Definitely an experienced map maker, although maybe not quite at the same level of prestige as some of the other map makers that did well in the TLMC 17. At the very least, I can't remember another map that he also made, but, you know, maybe the Liquipedia page was just not entirely up to date. Regardless, this map, it was in the Rush category. So the Team Liquid map contest, basically you have to submit your maps in different categories. There's a macro category, there's a freestyle category, and then there's also a Rush category. And a standard category too, actually. But the Rush category basically means that, well, the rush distance from base to base has to be shorter than in the other categories. Meaning that you can get across pretty easily. Right? It's really not that long of a distance. Plus, on top of that, there's no ramp leading down from the natural towards the, well, usually the third layer on the map. That's not the case over here. Meaning that, well, pushes, say you want to go for a Roach Ravager push or, I don't know, anything really. It's just easier to execute because you have more vision on the high ground. And because of that, ranged units will just be able to be, yeah, aggressive a little bit more reliably. So definitely a map where you can, get a little bit aggressive. After that, there's a couple of third base options. There's more cursed rugs right over here at the triangular third, apparently. And there's also one right over here on the low ground with the gold accented tiles. However, yeah, all of these bases are relatively normal, relatively standard. But you may have already noticed I'm purposely dodging one of the expansions on the minimap so far, or two of them. There's two right over here that are pretty interesting. So we've seen this before in the past. There's two gold-based setups right over here, and I'm hoping we're going to see some of those today as well in these games. This is an expansion that you can theoretically mine from two sites. So you could build a base right over here, and you could, you know, mine from either direction. Although, obviously, if you want to get the gas, if you have your command center set up over there, the SCVs are going to have to go very, very far around. But thank you, Jimmy, by the way, for highlighting this area. It definitely is a cool attribute, and it's a little bit risky, but yeah, it has a lot of potential. You could use it in the early game for, well, a little bit of cheesy shenanigans, but you can obviously also... Whoa, look at this fountain. Anyways, you can obviously also use it to come back in a game that is not going so well. So the official description of this map reads as follows. Despite a short rush distance, the map provides a lot of safety early on by restricting movement of armies and allowing players to expand away from the main attack path. Bases are spread horizontally and become harder to defend the longer the game goes on. Right, so the first couple bases are going to be pretty easy to take. However, as the game progresses, you're going to have to expand closer and closer to your opponent. So it's got a short rush distance with a 2-building wall-off at the natural. Okay, So the standard in StarCraft 2 is to wall off with 3-3x3 structures. So usually it takes 3 of them, but apparently on this map, you could theoretically fully wall off with just 2 of them. Okay. That's pretty interesting. That's not what we normally see, so I guess that makes it a slight defender's advantage. Although obviously combined with the lack of a ramp as well as the short rush distance, probably not that significant. A forward aggressive option for an expansion is also possible, right? And then there are 2 gold bases with exposed minerals too. Cool. Yeah, so it's a standard rush category map with a little bit of spice, right? Which I think makes for a solid map. Plus, I gotta say, these textures are actually really cool. We don't normally see it, but yeah, a lot of cool fountains, a lot of cool areas. There's even some of, I don't know what the Heroes of the Storm Pirate is called anymore, but some of his doubloons are apparently around the map as well. Pretty interesting. Anyhow, what do we have here? ShoWTimE opening up very normal. Obviously, ShoWTimE is very known to just play a very normal game. How well is he gonna respond, though, against the first little bit of proper aggression from those 2 Banshees? One of the Banshees already out of energy, but there's a shield battery set up, and you can't actually heal it up fast enough because, well, the 2 here are gonna be enough to just one-shot those workers. The main base, though, should be much better protected. Yep, not a whole lot that this Banshee is going to be able to achieve. Look at this area, by the way, as well. We're on some sort of flying space platform. Yeah, very royal for sure. I kind of get it. We've got spikes, or like stakes, set up around the main base as well, in case you decided to get a little bit fancy and get too close to this palace. Cool. I like it. I like how a lot of the map makers are trying to like separate themselves from other map makers, not just with cool map features, but also with decoration, right? It's kind of sick. They're really pushing one another to create better and better maps. Like over the years, the quality of the maps has definitely gone up. And yeah, I think it's important to have a competitive map scene as well. As weird as that may sound, if you're a more casual StarCraft viewer, the maps just, well, I've gone on and on about this in the past, and well, literally the last 2 videos I've uploaded, but map makers definitely have a very significant impact on the balance of the game, and having a good-looking map certainly makes it a lot more viewer-friendly as well. A lot of pro players, by the way, a lot of the pro gamers, they will just simply play on the absolute lowest graphic settings, so they don't care about the way that the maps actually look, but as an observer, I kind of dig it. Anyway, what exactly do we have right here? Well, we've got a very interesting choke point. Yeah, this is actually a surprisingly narrow area. You can't walk over these benches. These are benches for giants, by the way, looking at the size of those Marines. Anyways, you can't actually walk over them, so this is actually a relatively choked off area. Got a feeling that without Colossi, and they're coming out right now, without Colossi, it's going to be very difficult to hold on to this base. A couple of good force fields already. He's thinking about going around the site, maybe hitting the siege tank from the high ground. Yeah, not a bad idea. Luckily here for the Terran, though, the Medivacs are providing high ground vision. With more and more reinforcements coming up, there might be a chance for ShoWTimE to hold on to this expansion, but it certainly is a tricky area. I think he got a little carried away with the speed at which he used those force fields. Sadly, right here for the Protoss, he did not quite grab that tank and Spirit, putting it in a much safer location here instead. You know what? This base is in trouble. Yeah, it's going to be very difficult to actually keep it alive. Battery overcharge here, trying its very best, but indeed the Nexus falls. Excellent control right here from Spirit. Siege tank eventually does get tapped, but yeah, the base is already gone. He's actually remaking it in the exact same spot, probably primarily because he hasn't lost the infrastructure just yet. But okay, good control right there. Very nice micro on the Colossus. All right, cool, nicely done. Pretty even trade right there in the end, though, I believe. Yeah, the Nexus obviously went down, but army-wise, certainly a bit of a wash. Oh. What did I do? Professional commentator alert! Through the magic of video editing. Assuming I didn't forget to edit that out. You probably didn't notice. I accidentally backed up in the replay. I was trying to open up the battle report. But since I'm a noob... Oh my god, this is bad though. Yeah. This looks like me playing Protoss. Couple Colossi ended up going down for free. The rest of the micro was solid, but sadly those 2 Colossi were not part of the retreating force, and because of that, they got picked off. Okay. what looks a whole lot unlike me playing Protoss. ShoWTimE going up to a 4th base already. So ShoWTimE taking a little bit of a chance. He realizes that at this point he's not in the best of positions. So he decides to essentially double expand right now. So he's going for the full horizontal approach. This does mean that he's rather vulnerable here for the foreseeable future. But if it works out, obviously it can pay off in dividends. I mean, if you're going to do that, maybe take the gold base that's right next door instead. Anyways, he's still got a pretty healthy army, all things considered, but it's definitely smaller at this point than Spirit's. Spirit has not started up 2-2, which is a little bit surprising. Okay, yeah, he's actually late on the armory. So even at this level of play, the armory is still not quite where you want it to be. Maybe because of that, or despite of it, he decides to load up all of the units that he's got into Medevacs. There's a double Widowmine drop here, headed towards the bottom right, and he accidentally now finds this base. Okay, well, you know what? This might be an excellent draw. Oh my god. Okay, nice control right there. Very nicely done here by our Protoss. Thought it was going to be a bit of a disaster for just a moment. Medevacs actually have unloaded over here instead, so he's probably expecting this to be the 4th base instead, but ShoWTimE opting to put all of his defenses on the right side of the map. This does mean that the natural is a little bit vulnerable, so maybe that's where that bio army can get some work in. But let's see, still no 2-2 started up. This is gonna hurt. Yeah, this is gonna be dealt with just fine. A couple Liberators over here as well, ready to deny this expansion, I guess, for at least a little bit. There's a lot of aggression set up here by Spirit, but nothing is really executed just yet. Plus, I don't think this game is gonna end anytime soon, right? It doesn't look like... Well, at this point, ShoWTimE's economy is well kicked in. It doesn't look like he's going to roll over and die here. Plus, I mean, ShoWTimE is, of course, Dimawa. He's very good at defending, and he doesn't really lose very quickly. Okay. Yeah, ShoWTimE on point. He's only upgrading off of just a single forge, but at the very least, he's continuously doing so. Now 2-2 starts up, so that is a good chunk later than you ideally wanted. Alright, now apparently, even after the army losses from earlier, ShoWTimE is even thinking about being aggressive. He's doing a great job splitting off the units, and yeah, even though Spirit had a lot of potential there in the fight, I think it actually may be the correct call there to not commit anymore. It can be quite tricky to make that decision, but right now it's ShoWTimE who's pushing forward here with his main army. Colossi derping around, shooting primarily at that refinery, not really achieving a whole lot. Another Colossus, though, joins the fight. There's no prism or anything along those lines, so no easy way for Protoss to reinforce this. At the same time, the Marines in that medevac, they've unloaded. They were hanging around the main base of the Protoss for a long time, but they're now going after the 5th Nexus instead. There's one Colossus here, tasked with stopping this. It's a German word of stopping. Stopping. Anyways, it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough. Now the medevac drop, okay, eventually does lead towards the main base. It's a good chunk of units, and Protoss at this point is going to be forced to recall towards the main base instead to try and clean all of this up. Liberator in the meantime, 4 kills in denying that base. Good movement here by Spirit, but yeah, he might be winning the battles, but so far he's not really winning the war. Yeah, ShoWTimE is really good when it comes to just being in the right place at the right time. It's one of the hardest things of playing Protoss, since units are... Really? Are you guys stuck? Oh no! The 2 Archons are stuck. They're too thick. Anyways. It's really easy to, like, just play that very deathball-y force, right? Where you have all of your units in one big clump. And, yeah, splitting them in the correct groups is really quite tricky. It's very easy to accidentally, like, you know, make 2... oh my god, that's sad. Shield Battery is also very sad about the whole situation. Anyways, now they're going to be able to escape. It's really easy to split up your units 50-50 and then lose both of them because the Terran's just a little bit more flexible. The Protoss army just a little too slow for that, but obviously if you don't split up your units, the army movement here from Spirit would just absolutely tear you apart. Anyways, speaking of which, he has now secured this planetary fortress over here. He's now building a new command center in the top left, right on top of one of those cursed rugs. The longer I look at it, it's clearly 3 parts, right? Maybe it's even 2 parts, and it's just, you know, one of them is mirrored. I don't think the map editor had the perfect alignment right there. The rug is gonna drive me nuts if we have this on the ladder. It's not a big deal, Lowko. It's not a big deal, I promise. To myself. Cool looking flags and banners and everything. Ooh. Whoa! Did the Colossus just... I almost feel like the Colossus attempted going down there. I don't think it can reach that, but that would be hilarious if it could just walk with its long legs over that area. Alright, so now Mr. ShoWTimE is rather safely... Oh my god, careful now! Disruptor coming through the line of sight blocker there, dealing a lot of damage. He's actually rather safely mining those golden minerals from the back. Reinforcing pylon over here is available. Okay, Viking also gets sniped. In the meantime, Zealot in the top left. Ooh, denies the command center just a couple seconds before it would finish. And now the rest of the Protoss army has also arrived. This is bad for Spirit. Spirit losing a big chunk of his army on the right side. No console on that command center. So he ends up losing that one as well. Recall right now used on the main chunk of that army, so he really wants to defend it. One of the Colossi though popped out on the wrong side of that recall. One of the other Colossus has to walk all the way around, but I think there might just be enough Protoss to still push back this Terran army here eventually. Okay, one Zealot, very ambitious, trying its very best to see if it could go after the planetary fortress all by itself. Not quite enough, but ShoWTimE holds the gold. And that's really nice here. Good back and forth here so far, though. Early game was really good for Spirit. But ShoWTimE, as always, refuses to die. Here's the medevac drop again. No units waiting in the main base at this point. And this is a lot of Protoss tech here, so this base is certainly super important. He warps in a lot at a time. Sometimes you can accidentally hit the... Okay, well, this is super obvious now, right? Sometimes you can accidentally hit the Protoss player right after they've warped in a different map location. And then, you know, they can't actually warp in reinforcements, which can be quite annoying. 2 Marines, or, well, 2 units over here. 2 infantry units getting some damage done. Instead of going back home, though, because ShoWTimE saw that, he split up his army into 2 chunks, and he's decided to go in for the counterattack, which is a ambitious choice for sure. 11 probes have already gone down. There should be enough here, though. Yeah, for our Protoss player to clean up these units out of the main base. Okay, a little bit of an overextension right there. Misclick by Spirit. How's he holding on at home? I think the reinforcements here are going to be more than enough to stop all of this, but the very least, Spirit also lost mining of one of his expansions here for a bit. But overall, I think that trade was a little bit better. Ooh. A little bit better for the Terran. +3 here is going to finish up. +2 flyer attacks also finishing up for Spirit. Making those Liberators super scary. Golden Base is going to now be able to continue mining once more. And yeah, ShoWTimE is maxed. He's going to be at +3 in just a moment. But this is actually a very... Ooh, this high ground, I hadn't really looked at this section on the map yet. Yeah, this is super hard to actually get proper damage in. Just a beautiful staircase leading down. Not only can you harass this base from the back, you can also just come in from the high ground like that. And that makes holding on to those golden minerals super tricky. Okay, 2 disruptors. Helping each other out. But sadly right there for the disruptors at least, there wasn't quite enough. At the same time, though, there was a Protoss counterattack, apparently killing the planetary fortress. Liberators are used for the base defense once more. But neither player actually is taken on the opposing player's army. So, Spirit is going towards the bottom right. He's expansion hunting. Okay. So he's going to be able to get rid of this base. He's killed many Nexi at this point. But he's only really got 3 bases here of his own at this moment as well. So the base in the top left got denied. The 4th base got denied. This planetary fortress is also gonna get denied. Colossi having a grand old time, roasting as many of those SCVs as they can. Are there enough Terran units right now in the main base coming out as reinforcements to actually push back this Protoss force? In the meantime, Terran pushing forward as well down south. That is the 3rd Nexus right here of ShoWTimE, and he's going to be able to get rid of that. Aggressive blink forward in the main base of the Terran player. He's going to be able to get rid of those Liberators, I believe, and that means, yeah, that all of the Terran units are going to get cleaned up. Marauders, okay, found a beautiful little nuke there. I think the Supply Depot should be lifted. That would be the safest area to hang out for sure, but they've already got sliced up, and now suddenly the Terran main base is in trouble. General rule of thumb in StarCraft 2, though, is to not base race a Terran player because their structures can fly. That's exactly what Spirit is using right now. Every StarCraft player has played against the one guy who's hanging their structures in the corner, refusing to leave the game, and Well, at this level, that probably won't be a problem, but there's definitely a chance that ShoWTimE just simply won't be able to reach the final structures here of his Protoss opponent, or of his Terran opponent, rather. The thing is, right, in a game of StarCraft 2, the actual win condition is to destroy all of your opponent's structures. It's going to be a whole lot easier for Spirit to hunt down the opposing structures than it is for ShoWTimE, because he simply can't reach these. Then again, army supply count heavily in favor right now of the German. So ShoWTimE trying his very best to just, yeah, take the correct call. He's expanded towards the 3 o'clock position, as well as the top left. And, well, I think that this decision here, that's normally questionable and not something I would advise, is indeed the right call right here for Protoss. EMP on the shield battery as well, to try and clean all of this up a little bit quicker. The problem is, Spirit doesn't know, right? So he's found this base over here, but he does not know about the base in the top left. It's gonna require a Stargate to get rid of these structures over in that area. Well, he wanted to land those barracks. Obviously, this is also the production here. No resources anymore for the Terran very soon. Is there enough, though, to at the very least bring this orbital command back up to orange HP? So he's out of minerals very quickly. If he doesn't have minerals, he can't repair. Yeah, ShoWTimE's decision making is super solid. Alright, at the very least he brings the orbital command back up to orange hit points, but now Protoss is playing against a Terran with 0 minerals. Literally none. I think that these armies are gonna have to clash. And there's absolutely no way, right, for the Terran player to take a proper fight here. He's going to try his best regardless, not aware of exactly how large that Protoss army actually was. Disruptor's getting some good hits in as well. And it's going to be ShoWTimE who obtains the victory. Yeah, the map definitely seems very promising so far. Our next game, another Protoss versus Terran. Bit of a shorter one. Playing here with the blue Protoss probes, we have Mana and his opponent in the top right, playing here with the red Terran SCVs. We're looking at Gumiho's main command center. Alright. Bit of a shorter game, so I'd like to see exactly what ends up happening in a faster game on Royal Blood. So obviously it is in the rush category. I can look at the replay duration and decide, okay, you know what, this game is probably going to be a little bit more macro focused rather than rush. But I can imagine that this map, or this game rather, on this map will indeed be a little bit quicker. I wouldn't be surprised if the majority of the games are also going to be a little bit cheesy. Not just because of the rush distance, but like I said, also because of that choke point over here. Like, it's going to be easy for Zerg, for example, to get Ravagers across the map, right? Say, for example, it's a Terran versus Zerg. Even though this would be very tempting to try and wall off early in a game of Terran versus Zerg, you could very, very quickly send Ravagers across, and those Ravagers with their corrosive bile range, they are not going to have a hard time targeting down a lot of those structures. Same for Terran. You could go for a lot of one-base play. A lot of siege tank pushes would be super powerful. Protoss obviously can make use of that as well with Stalkers and all that, right? How easy would it be to blink into the main base? Yeah, pretty easy. You could definitely get in. Anyways, Mr. Mana. Okay. Mana going for a 20 supply Cybercore into a 20 supply Nexus at the gold. Tiny little carpet over here. Little baby carpet. I think that's mostly just to indicate what the center of that base actually is. Yeah, graphically, I really like the map. What does it say over here? Bobs. I don't know what it... no, we can't read that. I can't turn the camera far enough. There's something about Bobs, man, and I understand. Maybe it's mirrored on the other side of the map. Oh! Oh, it's Rob's! Wait, no, maybe it is Bob. Do you think it's cut off? Anyways, Rob's Guns. Making a Nexus right next to the gun shop. Brilliant. Ooh, Gumi also going for a bit of a spicy play here as he sent out one SCV while simultaneously sending out the Reaper. He did go for a quick factory at home. So the factory at home is at the very least going to give him a little bit of an opportunity to go for the starport. I think that's the plan. Yeah, there it is. Okay, so he hasn't found Nexus here of Protoss just yet, but yeah, it's not a very complex puzzle to really? Never mind, it is a very complex puzzle to solve. Gumiho checking out the 3 o'clock position. Nah, this makes more sense. Yeah, he's looking around the map. I think the golden minerals make a lot of sense, and there we go. Now that's funny. Bzz, 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 bzz. Not on my watch, says the shield battery. Bzz, bzz. Problem here for Protoss, though, is not so much this Reaper. I think this Reaper will be dealt with soon enough. Two Adepts are bzz, bzz, heading on over in this direction. Oracle has been built in this location as well. He does not know about this starport. And at this point, there's a whole lot of units or a whole lot of nothing, rather, that Mana has to shoot up with. I guess the Warp Gate research is going to finish up pretty soon. He's waiting for the second Oracle, but I'm assuming that a Reaper spotted the Stargate, yeah. So this Liberator could be pretty painful. There's a Widow Mine right over there in the corner of the base. A couple Marines are coming up. Cyclone also building. I mean, technically speaking, all of the tools here should be at Gumiho's disposal to defend against all of this. There's the Liberator going in. I like this Liberator here a lot. Super annoying to have to deal with, because this is... Oh my god. Okay, well, that's unfortunate. One of the Oracles immediately got sniped by a randomly positioned Widow Mine. SCV is trying to repair that one up in time, but... Yeah, this is denying so much, right? So this economy right now. Well, it was looking pretty hot because of those golden minerals. As soon as that little screen updates. Really? Man, a little too good for that, okay, Gumi? Disrespectful there, but he does keep it alive. But yeah, you can definitely see... Oh my god. You can definitely see the tides change right there in the income tab. Should even up, though. The golden minerals are still nice. One of the problems, though, with the golden minerals is that obviously they also mine out very quickly. So normally this base would probably run until like 12 minutes if it was a standard natural expansion. In this case, I don't think he's going to have that much juice. Question is, does it even really matter? There's barely anything available. These bases have been denied for such a long time. Stalker eventually does go down. This main base has been under threat for a long time. And at this point, he just does not have the resource. Like, he didn't have the resources to build those gateways any sooner. And now he doesn't really have the resources to warp in reinforcements because he's not mining. GG is just simply cold. And it's Gumiho who obtains the victory. One more? Let's do one more. Spawning right here in the top right-hand corner of Royal Blood. Playing with the blue Protoss probes, we have Gerald and his opponent in the opposite corner with the red Protoss pieces. He goes by the name of Classic. I gotta say, a Royal Blood. Yeah, rolls off the tongue kind of nicely. I never really thought about map names very much until I had to cast like 9 months worth of games on Jagannatha. Or Jagannatha. See, even after casting so many, I still can't. So I've become a little critical of map names. Royal Blood, yeah. Yeah. Pretty good. Pretty good map name. Yeah. Although for Royal, I feel like it needs to be a little tidier. Right? Like these spots right here in the main base. Maybe it used to be a Royal. Ah, maybe that's what the blood means, huh? Anyways, maybe there was a battle over here in this Royal Palace at some point. I'm thinking about it way more than I need to. But it looks a little... If I expect a... Like, if I'm thinking of a palace, I'm not expecting dirt inside of the main throne room over here. Right? Same over here for the planks and everything. It's just all a little nasty. Look at this. This sign over here. This television. This is where they used to play my videos. No longer. Anyway. Proxy Stargate here. At the 9 o'clock position by Gerald. Right next to those golden minerals. Saw a probe heading in that direction. A little disappointed it did not see too much. Although, I say that right now. Classic is looking for a Proxy Stargate. So obviously this map is very new. Okay, he's gonna find it. He should. Yeah, I was gonna say, if that's gonna be out of range, that would kind of suck. So Classic now purposefully not getting closer. So the sight radius around the Stargate that's building, or any structure that's building, is shorter than that of a unit that is finished. Okay, well, apparently we're still gonna show ourselves, but 2 Stalkers are already heading in that direction. That does mean, though, that the main base is vulnerable. Classic did make a pylon over here. Gerald wanted to do the same thing and then cancel it. So Stargate got cancelled on the left side of the map. The 2 Adepts are waiting to... Oh my god, look at this. What do you call that? Topiary? Is that it? For some... Oh, I'm gonna look it up. For some reason. That's the word that pops into my head. Hell yeah, Lowko. Well, okay. That was the correct word. I think... Is that how you pronounce it? Google, teach me.
Topiary.
Oh my god. Hell yeah, let's go. There's a lot of words, actually. As a non-native English speaker. Maybe this is the case as well for a native English speaker, but... I read quite a lot of books. And sometimes there's words used in books. That I've read many times, but I've never actually heard anyone pronounce them. One that comes to mind that I've had troubles with until probably like a year ago is encyclopedia. For some reason, I did not realize the emphasis of the word. So in Dutch, the word is encyclopedie, which is very similar, but the emphasis is different. You know what I mean? Anyways, that happens from time to time. Topiary being one of them, but got it right this time. Let's go. Anyways, Gerald not finishing up his next plan of attack here, and that's going to be Blink. Classic here, yeah, he's got the Prism on the other side of the map, which is quite annoying. Neither player really opting for an expansion just yet, so just a lot of aggression. One base versus one base. Robo Facility is going to finish up here for Gerald as well, so if he can get himself an Immortal out, obviously, that would be fantastic, but we're a little while away from that. Those two Adepts that were hiding in the back of the Natural of Classic, now also trying to knock at the front door. Stalker over there. Or Stalkers over there, get denied by the one Sentry. Don't die, Sentry, man. Don't do it. Immortal is coming up. Makes a lot of sense. This is forcing a warp in over here. So you know what? Those two Adepts, even though they're gonna die, they did so not in vain. There might just be a little bit too much, though, for Classic to just push through this. Immortal is gonna pop very soon. And, well, while he doesn't have energy for a battery overcharge yet at this point, battery overcharge combined with a shield battery and an Immortal. Pretty good. Okay. Immortal number 2. Also researching. Blink now done. So Gerald has got a lot of tech. Both players have a similar economy. I mean, there's more workers available for Gerald, but no place for them to really mine. Those Immortals are gonna pack a punch. Don't lose them. That would be bad. Okay, there's the battery overcharge, trying to keep as many units alive as possible. Classic now has enough, apparently, to mostly one-shot all of those units in blue that aren't Immortals. Okay, Blink has been spotted. Yeah, all Gerald really needs to do is just buy time. So he warps in another Sentry, which I think is excellent. Classic sees everything over here. There's Immortal number 2. Prism now coming up as well for Gerald. And I believe that this is pretty much held. No real way for Classic to get into the main base without getting punished really hard. So now he's setting up for a bit of a contain over here instead. He's brought his own sentries out, so that's going to allow him to... Even though he was previously using sentries, Gerald that is, to keep the opponent out of his main base, now Classic is going to be able to keep his opponent in the main base while he's expanding, in the meantime, on top of the Cursed Carpet on the other side of the map. I guess it's a rogue. Yeah, no, it's a rogue. It doesn't look right. Please tell me I'm not the only one that's a little bit bothered by this. Anyways, don't look at it. The color blue is just not right, man. Can we change the opacity or something of the corners? Is that possible? It would look so much nicer. Anyways, ooh, careful, Gerald. Almost losing the prison with 2 Immortals in it. Classic now also showing up with an Immortal, but... yeah. I mean, he wants to finish the game, Classic that is, right? Classic is trying his very best to finish the game, but this is pretty close to being held. Yeah, a little bit of shenanigans over here, fair enough. But I don't think there's really quite enough here for the player in red to finish this here anytime soon. And because of that, both players are expending. Yeah. Very ambitious Immortals now. Just walking across, trying their very best. The Stalker and the Immortal. Both of them are actually based on the Dragoon's design. That's the reason why they actually look quite similar as well in a lot of skins. One of the reasons why I'm not a huge fan of skins. Because in, you know, they're both kind of spidery, you know what I mean? With like many legs moving around and stuff. It's because they're both based on the StarCraft Brood War Dragoon. Anyways, in some of the skins, they look very similar. The default skins that we're seeing right here, not a problem, but Some of the skins, the legibility definitely is not ideal on those two units. But they supplement one another well, even though they're both based on the exact same, you know, opposing unit. Anyways, in the meantime, on the other side of the map, Classic transitioning towards the Twilight Council, whereas now we see Gerald with the tech advantage. He's getting himself a Robo Bay. Economically, Classic has been pumping out quite a few more probes, and he's now grabbing that Nexus right here in the bottom right. So this is, I like this a lot. He could have actually taken this rather than a natural. It's not like Gerald really has had a chance to move across the map anytime earlier than this, so he doesn't know about the opponent natural. So this gold base could have been up and running, which is why I am a fan of gold bases. You know, you can leverage your way into an advantage pretty well. Anyways, Classic is still going to try and do so, but soon he's going to have to face off against, yeah, these bad boys. Disruptors, one of the scariest units in the game. Very explosive. Very shitty to play against. Excellent to watch. I think most players hate playing against Disruptors, but it's a lot of fun to watch playing, or watch the pro players play with them, because super hard. And obviously in a Protoss versus Protoss, both players have access to that unit. Would not be surprised if Classic will go in that direction at some point as well, but he's going for a more classical approach with Immortal, Archon, Zealot, Stalker, Sentry, and then of course Charge and a bunch of upgrades. A little bit of a different approach. What Gerald is playing is the more new school approach. Both are perfectly viable, but this is what the hip kids play. This is what the StarCraft boomers go for. Another base. This might be getting a little bit crazy now, Classic. Look, we're getting that income boost right now from the golden minerals, which is nice. We might want to bank on that for a little while longer, dude. Anyhow. He's thinking about it. Obviously, though, when you're taking a fourth base, or you're thinking about taking a fourth base right around the time that the opponent starts up a third, that is a pretty good position, especially if you already took a gold base just a little bit before that. Yeah. This is Gerald looking around as well. Gerald hasn't seen the gold. That's a big problem. So Gerald not thinking about the golden minerals, that may actually bite him in the butt. Because at this point, he may assume that one of the... No, he has to know about the gold. He scouted this. He scouted this. He must know that his opponent is not still on 2 base play. That makes no sense. If he's putting his opponent on 2 base play right now, he's in a little bit of a problem. Or he's in a little bit of trouble. Because then he must be putting his opponent on a big all-in here at any moment. And Classic is obviously very significantly ahead in supply count, but he probably, if he didn't make all of this, he could probably be close to like... Really? Anyways, he could probably be close to like 160, 70-ish. Maybe not a bad idea. Anyhow, Classic, even though he had a hallucinated Phoenix over here scouting the golden minerals, he's like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and take the Nexus on the left side of the map as well. Mine all of those juicy golden mineral fields. If you look at the income right now, yeah, so it's pretty much an identical amount of workers. But Classic with a pretty significant lead, so this is per minute. Every minute that goes by right now, he's getting like 4 additional Zealots worth of stuff. Which adds up very quickly when both players are making the same units. Now this is Classic playing a super safe game as well. Obviously Disruptors have a chance to change the tide of battle, but I think that Classic could probably go for an attack if he wants to. Well, there go the bowling balls. Pretty good hits right away. Stalkers on the left, Zealots on the right. And this is exactly why Classic is playing so safely. He knows very well that those Disruptors can deal a lot of damage. Now those force fields though, oh, he's dropping Archons on top of the force fields, but those force fields slowing down the advancement of the player in blue. 15 probes end up going down. Ooh, Nexus also gets sniped, and I think Classic is just gonna try and get on out of there. Dark Templar coming up here as well for Gerald very soon, but at this point we're talking a double gold Nexus for Classic, who's on 4 base, versus Gerald, who just restarted his 3rd Nexus. You don't have to be a math wizard to figure out how this one will probably play out. Now this section over here is... Huh. Good map. I like it. Yeah. MayOnFire, excellent work. For a rushy map, I'm personally not, like, at least historically not a huge fan of rush maps. But for a map that is pretty rush-y, I like this a lot. Anyways, Classic giving up one of the golden bases to go after one of his opponent's expansions here. Classic now waiting with a chunk of his army as well, probably once again to force field whatever he can. Archons in the back having a hard time making their way over here. Zealots, though, not really getting that much work done just yet. At the same time, Waters... Okay, bowling balls happening right there on the left. We also have Dark Templar at the other gold base. Gerald making the best of a rough situation here. Loses the natural. Now he's got, well, soon to be 2 Nexi, but doesn't have a whole lot of income here. The Dark Templar, though, have absolutely demolished the resources at the gold base. And there's really not that much available here for Classic to deal with those units either. He's got 2 observers. Okay, 1 at home, but 1 with the army. So that's nice. Dark Templar are now also cleaning up that Zealot run-by in the main base, helping out in that department. 26 probes have gone down on Gerald's side, but it's not like Classic has gone through this completely unharmed. Now the army is also split up, yeah. Classic's army is split up. A lot of those units coming in. Woo, from the back. Excellent movement here by Gerald, who's very close right now to cleaning up the supply count. As a matter of fact, it's 76 army supply. Well, right now for 80 versus 82 for Classic. Classic just warped in a bunch more units. Recall being used right here, so I think that this base will actually stay alive. Yeah. But for just a moment there, Gerald was actually ahead in the army supply count. That's the magic of those disruptors. Like, even if they don't do a massive amount of damage, they force the opponent to just disengage continuously, right? And when those zealots are disengaged, obviously they're not dealing damage. Well, this is awkward. Alright. That one is certainly gonna go down. One invisible man trying its very best to go into the opponent's natural. Very ambitious little zealot, but yeah, observer's not moving, so actually can get some damage done. Gerald is on his last leg. He's got basically no income, but it's not like there's a ton of mining here for Classic either. Classic securing that golden base once more, but he needs to still address his army, and this is honestly a scary force. Okay, harassment from the back. I like the gold. I like this map. Yeah, map's turning out real well. Oh, Stalkers can hit that? Okay, then. That is a nice little bit of info. Apparently, Classic, though, has decided I do not want to engage that army. Instead, I'm going to go for a full-on counterattack. And this may very well be the right call, but it's a bit of a spicy one. Look at these. A couple of probes as well. Apparently no threat to those zealots, so the zealots really want to go after the structures rather than the probes. Gerald probably thinking about using recall here, but not the right call for sure. Do I have to mention it twice in a video? Guys, the win condition for a game of StarCraft 2 is to destroy all of your opponent's structures. Classic is still definitely in a fantastic spot. But he's gonna have to deal with that army. Yeah, you can bulldoze disruptors through the force fields. Gerald does not rebuild their base and is being revealed. This means that Classic can now, through the fog of war, see where all of those final structures are located. Okay. Oh, he wants to fight in a concave for obvious reasons. So what do you do now? Yeah, he wants to leave. He does not want to be here. It's so dangerous though, bro. If you leave right now, okay. That's a couple free units. I think that disengaging here makes a lot of sense. Keeping that one Stalker alive as well. 99 army supply for Classic versus 70 for Gerald. There's some mining still going on here for Mr. Classic, so at least he's got, well, that income. But I mean, he's at the income advantage for basically the last 10 minutes of this game and a little bit before that as well. Got a feeling that this game should not be as close as it is. Gerald, we saw him play versus Cyril just a couple days ago in a previous video. This man has figured out something, man. Something's clicked in his head. His engagements are excellent. Very easy to underestimate the strength of that. Now, Classic here, like StarCraft is very much a macro game, right? And over the years, you're kind of conditioned to think, yeah, more stuff beats less stuff, but Gerald here showing us that even with 80% of an army, he can still get a lot of value in. Anyways, Prism here thinking about going for a run-by or a flyby, maybe. Okay, these Zealots are doing the same thing to go after the final structures here of Gerald. Gerald is maybe gonna snipe those Zealots. He sees them at the very least, so that's nice, but while this is happening, all the while this is happening, we see constant unit production here for Classic. It's not a lot. And obviously it comes at the cost of a couple of those units as well, but Classic has once again grabbed a little bit more supply. And soon if he's finishing up that Nexus as well, he's going to be in a good spot. Then again, if Gerald gets one really good Disruptor hit on a bunch of his opponent's Stalkers or a few of those Zealots, the supply count will actually look very different. New Hallucinated Phoenix heading on over towards the top left-hand corner. Is Classic brave enough to take this engagement? Yeah, so he doesn't want to fight. He wants to go for a counterattack instead, and Gerald knows, yeah, I do want to fight, but if I move a little too far to your side of the map, there's going to be Zealots on my final structures. So I've got a feeling that Gerald here is still stuck between a rock and a hard place. He doesn't really have anything in particular that he can reliably do. He's going to have to take a gamble. He knows that if he waits for too long, there's going to be more and more Protoss units in red, so he has to make that choice. Okay, you know what? If you can, well, if you can cut off your opponent's structures like that, not terrible. But now is the time for those Zealots to go in, though, and they immediately start walking. Classic is likely going to lose this base over here, but does he really care? No, he does not. He's actually just sending everything across the map right now. Gerald must realize that that is happening as well, but he's tried his best. He knew that he had to take a chance somewhere, but it's very unlikely he's going to be able to get home in time before these structures fall. He's running. He's desperately trying to get back home, but these are the only structures that still matter in this game. GG is cold. And it's going to be Classic who obtains the victory in our final game of the day. Hey, if you enjoyed watching this video, please take the 1 second that it takes to hit the like button down below. And if you really enjoyed it, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get notified as soon as future videos go live. For now, thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day. Don't forget to smile, and I'll see you once again in the next one.